Brothers and sisters, this is my second section. The second section of our exhortation. I entitled it, Are We All Hypocrites? Brothers and sisters, let me continue. Paul and Barnabas tore up their clothes. When they naked, the Bible is telling us that Paul and Barnabas, both of them, they tore up their clothes. Or were they with the camisole like me? Did they have the camisole after tearing up their clothes? Did they have the camisole like me? Brothers and sisters, because I put my camisole, it became a problem. Understood, it became a problem with the Christians. I don't understand that. I can't get that. And here are the two reasons that have led them to tear up their clothes. The first reason was simply because they were really angry at what it was told about them when they were not. The first reason, because they told them something where they were not. That's the reason they didn't like that. They were so angry. And before that, we can read in the Bible in Acts 14, 8-15. We're going to see King David, who tore also his clothes in 2 Samuel 13:31. We're going to read that. I'm giving you the biblical passages so that you can read that. We're going to compare it with all that I did. These all men of God, they tore up their clothes because of anger and distress. King David was God opposed to King David because of this act committed under anger or stress or distress. And God was not against him. God was not against him because he tore up his clothes. Even Paul, even Barnabas, God was not against them because they tore up their clothes. The Bible doesn't tell us if they were naked or not. Because when you tore up your clothes, what is going to stay inside? Camisole and the shorts or what? Brothers and sisters, do you know how many years I have endured injustice and abuse here in America? Do you know that? Call me crazy. Call me whatever you want. There is no problem. They call Paul crazy. They call Paul because of what I'm telling you. That's the reason you can call me crazy. Call me crazy. Take me as a fool man or a foolish man or a fool. That's your problem. There is no problem. There is no problem. But the big problem is we need to understand each other. The big problem is we need to do things for God. The second reason was that they really wanted to demonstrate who they were exactly. They wanted to demonstrate exactly who they were, not calling me God. That's what Paul and the Barnabas wanted to explain, wanted to express to those that by tearing up their clothes. And God was not against them, even if it was not in their house. Even though it was not in their house, like me, I did it in my house. Even though it was not in their house, Paul and Barnabas, But God was not against them. And besides, the Bible doesn't specify if there were children there or not. It's obvious that Paul and Barnabas wanted us to know that they were nothing. That's the only thing they wanted to show, that they were nothing. Paul was a man who was pleased with his weakness. He was okay with his weakness. But today we see the men of God, the people of God, the Christians, they want to be like somebody else. We don't know. But Paul was saying he was pleased with his weakness. He rather wanted to accept what he was than to be considered greater than he was. He was not God. And it is the meaning to demonstrate his position and level with God. And who am I? Who am I? Let us not put on good clothes while we are hypocrites. Cover sins. And we cannot speak before people to tell them the evil they have done for the advancement of the work of God. I do things like Paul. I'm telling you, I am doing things like Paul. Paul found that almost all the great servants of God were hypocrites. Let us leave hypocrisy. Let us leave hypocrisy and walk according to the word of God for the advancement of the work of God. If Paul wasn't bigger than me, could tear up his clothes in anger, did God tell him to do so? Was God who told him to do so? And why will I wear good clothes? To show you what? Am I superior to you? While I am sad and I have been mistreated since 1999, that I got the accident, that I had a job accident in Washington, D.C. At work, asking for favor. While I am asking for favor, am I going to put good clothes? Am I going to put good clothes to show you what? Am I superior to you? A woman asked me one day on the phone to find out why every time I go to the courts, I always talk about the Democratic Republic of the Congo. That's why I am taken for a fool, or even by all government agencies. But I told her that my problems are related to the suffering of my people in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And I am determined to talk about it wherever I will be until we change the causes in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, in all Africa. We can read Esther 4. If we read Esther 4, the entire chapter, we will also tell, it's telling us, also tells us that Mordecai had also torn up his clothes in anger because they wanted to kill all the children of Israel. And he put on the sack, trampling even the worldly word, the worldly laws to protest in front of the palace. Did I do the same thing or not? By contacting the authorities for help. Did I do the same thing or not? By contacting the authorities for help. Have I also wrapped myself in a sack and covered myself with ashes? That is why we take for fools the men of God who do things which seems funny, but hide the approval of God behind it. God has said, your problem will be mine. But take still the advantage of it by making your enemies God's enemies, God's ones. Take advantage of that to get all your enemies become the enemies of God. It's already 11 minutes. I'm going to end right here. We must not read the Bible as the book of history and geography. But it's a truth that we must also live with it. How will you know that I have a God? We need to know that the Bible, it's not the book of history or geography. We don't need to read it like that. We need to read it and to apply what is telling us. We can do the same thing which is written in the Bible. Thank you very much. May God bless you. I will be back for the next session.